live from Gaza. Abubaker, welcome back. Are you there?
Hi.
Hi.
Hi, Abubaker. It's nice to see you.
So good to see you.
It's always
Abubaker.
nice to see you as well. Yes, especially because we're absolutely marking the 1 year of this genocide. So here comes the importance to tell you what is really going on after 1 year of the genocide, and particularly after yesterday's fiery events.
Well, tell us, and we have some more coming up in the news report, but tell us about the attacks over the last week in Gaza. Tell us what you've been watching carefully, and just give us an update on how things are in Gaza right now.
Yes, I mean, I don't know why we're paying the price, although we're not a part of the yesterday's attacks. But yes, overnight attacks have already killed around 100 people across the besieged enclave, particularly in Khan Younis, where more than 4 people have been killed, and numbers are increasing as well. And at the same time, Al-Nusayrat refugee camp, there is a family there called Hasbullah, which is a very, very rooted Palestinian family that lost dozens of their family members yesterday. And some of them were working as engineers, teachers as well. So attacks on Al-Nusayrat refugee camp particularly have been very much intensified by the Israeli military, because the quadcopters and Israeli snipers are really approaching the C Street, the western parts of the camp there on the Al-Rashid Street. So anyone getting by there are easily getting killed. And also during the attacks yesterday, some people tried to go back to the north. Unfortunately, anyone tried to approach the Netzarim corridor was killed. So 3 people were reportedly killed from Al-Shadr refugee camp who tried to return to their homes in the north. Particularly in the Balah of the past week particularly, a tent was targeted in Al-Birka area, and more importantly, Mahmoud Ismail, who's just a high school student, and also a football player for Al Club, was killed in that attack, and his family and all of his family members were also killed. Also, a house was targeted. Fortunately, there were no casualties, and at the same time, attacks continued during the night hours and also at pre-dawn, particularly because we heard about the attack on Al-Aqsa Martyrs Hospital. So, talking about the central Gaza and Deir al-Balah, because I'm there at the moment, I'm here at the moment. Attacks on Al-Nusayrat refugee camp are very much intensified. Deir al-Balah has also borne the brunt of these relentless attacks. So casualties are just rising, unfortunately, in terms of all the bombing and Israel's continued genocide.
Abubaker, as this 1 year anniversary comes up, I've spoken to people in Gaza who talk about a kind of terrible new normality where people are in some way adjusting to a completely abnormal situation where dozens of people are still being murdered every day in airstrikes, in which there's no medicine available, food supplies aren't there. Is that possible? Is it possible for people to get used to these conditions?
It is not. It's absolutely not. But one of the main reasons behind what this is happening, I can't really deny it, because yes, thousands of people are trying to adjust their norm to a completely abhorrent and abnormal situation, is that it's taken so much time. As I've told you, it is too much in people. People can't really bear any more seconds. Look at these celebrations yesterday. Look what the implications behind these Iranian attacks yesterday at Israel. Look at what it means. It was like every corner of Gaza yesterday, as you probably saw on social media, was erupting. There was eruption. There was a sheer sense of euphoria among people here. Look at what it means for a mother whose fetus was killed. Look at what it means for a child who has lost their entire family. Look at what it means to thousands and thousands of people whose houses were destroyed and reduced to rubble out of no reason. So it meant a lot to these people to celebrate yesterday because no one was with us, no one stood with us, and we were just left alone. I'm not talking about the humanitarian, the people and the boycotting, etc., because we really value that. But in terms of the real action on the ground and in terms of the battling, this is what we really wanted, because we cannot really like accept the fact and tolerate the fact that we are being killed on a very, very daily basis, as you're saying. So I'm just trying to say that there is some sort of normalization of the situation right now, but at the same time, people have some hope after yesterday's attacks, and people still feel that things will change, and probably this attack will will append the equation and probably push the Israelis to accept the ceasefire proposal very soon from the Qatar, mediated by the Qataris or the US. So this is what people are hoping. But yes, at the same time, as you said, amid the shortages of food, medicine, and everything, and unfortunately, all crossings have been closed. If this is something that you haven't known, all the crossings have been closed until October the 10th. So there is just like the flow of goods is plummeting, unfortunately. Prices are also skyrocketing at the same time. More people are being trapped in Deir al-Balah. More people are coming to Deir al-Balah because there are repeatedly some, abrupt and short-timed invasions by the Israeli military. So people don't know where to go. And yes, I've seen personally, hundreds of people are fleeing alongside refugee camp after the Holocaust and the harrowing attacks, repeated attacks over the recent weeks there in the area. So it's utterly devastating. But yes, we hope it will just end after like marking probably 1 year.
And Abubaker, it's been 1 year of genocide and horror on that. We never believed that we would see such horrors in our lifetime. And I'm thinking particularly of children who now have been out of school for a whole year, and out of university for a whole year for older students. I saw today a video, I think, by Bisan, the journalist in Gaza, which showed an informal education or informal classroom, I believe, near Khan Yunis. Can you tell us about how children are doing? What type of efforts are there around you where you see what you can see to give children any sense of normality or education in this ongoing genocide?
Yes, I mean, probably like families do really want to educate their children, but these children, we need to remember that these children are so much traumatized, ostracized, and dehumanized at first. So we can see around me particularly that a lot of the children here, Dr. Ali, which is the biggest source of misery, they don't have time to go to informal schooling or informal classes in tents or anywhere else, because they are the only ones left in their families. So they have to wait and queue up for long hours to get some liters of water and some food for their families. So hundreds and thousands of children here, particularly in Durban, don't have the time to do so. So they work, that simply means that children's labor is forced upon children. So these children unfortunately don't have the access, don't have the time to go and learn. But at the same time, there are some other children who are trying to resume education, but they, unfortunately, I'm telling you the truth, I'm not trying to be anyway hopeless, but these children cannot really maintain their mental status because they are simply traumatized. And I saw last time when there was some kind of schooling like here in Durban and some of the tents, an attack happened nearby. So families are afraid. If I send my children, if I escort my children to one of the nearby schooling or informal schools in tents or in the tented camps, then what if Israel kills him or them, or what if Israel like destroys or bombs this tinted camp? So families are so much afraid, and families do want to mentally treat their children. That comes as the first priority, because I've told you before, the children here have just learned the war alphabet. I could see outside that they are just talking about rockets being like hitting them, talking about like warplanes, like waiting for warplanes to hover over them, and all of this kind of stuff. So they just talk about warplanes hovering over them, drones buzzing over their heads, and at the same time rockets hitting them and killing their families. This is the story. This is the plot that has been forced upon children here in Gaza. So when it comes, even for me, because I'm a student, there has been some sort of an attempt at resuming education online. But look, I don't have the internet connection. I don't have a good conducive environment to resume my education, which means that this is simply unfeasible for me and for thousands of students. And you said it yourself that people are still being murdered and in mass. So how can we at some point resume this sort of stuff? Because I know that we are trying to do our best, but Israel kills every source of hope. And one last thing before it is that there was someone from a Ramlawi family who married weeks ago, September the 9th. 2 days ago, they killed him. Israel killed him. He got married 3 weeks ago. Israel killed him 2 days ago. I mean, look at the barbarity, look at the scale of barbarity and insanity and fascism and Nazism. All of this is inherited in the Israeli regime. So why did they kill him? And by his killing, this marked the full erasure of his family, of a Ramlawi family. He was the last one. And during all these attacks, his family has been wiped out. And this is what we want to tell people particularly.
Finally, Abubaker, the season is changing, and there are, so many, thousands and thousands of people in these tent encampments on the beach with no infrastructure. They've gone through an entire summer in Gaza with scorching heat, and now the rains are coming. What are the conditions for people like in these tent encampments or in shelters, wherever they can find any sort of refuge? What are people talking about in terms of preparing for the winter?
They are talking about simply, this is a very good question, Nora. Thank you so much for asking it. I mean, they're talking about they don't have anything. The sky is their blanket and the ground is their mattress. They don't have anything else. They don't have covers. They don't have any means of food. They don't have a financial ability to afford to live and to resist to live, because this has been repeated. This is the second word that is coming through during the genocide, throughout the genocide. I mean, as I've told you before, tents are not shelters at all. They don't work for these people. They will just be trapped. They will just be drowning because of the winter, because it rained yesterday. I could hear the screams of people outside, the screams of women, and reminded that clothes are banned from entering the strip. There hasn't been any sort of clothes that has got into the strip, which means that winter clothes are not available for most people. So most people here just say that I just have this t-shirt for the winter. I just have this blanket for the winter. And they're just trapped. They have red clothes, and most people walk barefoot, especially when it comes to children. These children don't have sandals, don't have boots, don't have anything to do with this upcoming winter. And as I'm reading the weather forecast, there are expectations that this winter on Palestine is going to be quite harsh and quite strong. So I could see last time when the weather was windy that the tents of people were swept away, and they were absolutely damaged. So even when they wanted, like, look at the prices here, when they want to seek out some like 1 meter square or 1 square meter of cover of nylon, of plastic, anything that they can cover the tent with, it costs them more than $200 just like this. Imagine that people here can't afford to live that. So the living circumstances for them will just be hellish and nightmarish. I hope people can understand, and I can encourage from here, from my position. I want to encourage everyone and everyone listening to me. If you have some way to donate to these people and help them with these dire circumstances, please do. There is also, I talked to you about one child here, one infant here who was recently born. But the woman who was just eating and is still eating stale bread. She's a breastfeeding mother now. Right now, she is in a tent. It rained upon her last time out. So, I mean, there are no words to describe the current situation. There are no words to describe the horror and the terror and the suffering people will be going through. So I hope there will be just more a way to sort this out. And I'm very hopeful that things will change for the better, inshallah.
Inshallah. Thank you so much, Abubaker Abed, speaking to us live from the Gaza Strip. Abubaker, as always, please be as safe as you can. And all of us at the Electronic Intifada, all of our audience who's watching and listening, are so grateful for you and the work that you're doing and your resilience and your strength. And
for keeping us strong throughout
yeah,
this year,
exactly.
Abubaker. You have kept us strong, believe it or not.
I
And
know.
that's not a burden you should have to carry, but it's a reality that we feel better when we see you, when we hear you, when we read your articles, and we hope that the next time we see you will be in better circumstances and that this will finally be over.
Inshallah. And please keep doing your part, keep doing what you are doing, because you give us hope as well. So all just like the very best from here. Thank you so much. Bye bye. All the best.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
All our
you.
love.